Government in disarray, despite the vociferous appeals from Ghanaians to trim the bloated size of government, this administration has once again turned a deaf ear. If 50 is worth doing, the 50 should as well be done now to let the people of Ghana know you mean it. But clearly, it does not mean it.
With the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta now finally sacked, we'll hear from MPP rebel MPs who campaigned for his dismissal. And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Now, there has been loud calls from organized labor, civil society, and even the clergy for President Akufo-Addo to drastically trim the size of his government. Now, the calls appear to have found favor with Vice President and flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who last week announced he will only appoint less than 50 ministers if elected president next year. The calls had been fueled by the current economic crisis, the worst in a generation. Well, today, President Akufo-Addo reshuffled his government, the first major shakeup in 7 years, but refused to reduce the number of ministers. The main opposition, NDC, has been addressing a news conference taking on the president for sticking with the status quo. More on that shortly, but first, let's appreciate the big themes emerging from today's reshuffle. And my colleague, Kofi J, joins me in the studio with that. And Kofi, let's now break this down in terms of the numbers.
Well, Evans, we've been adding the numbers, and you still have 86 ministers and deputy ministers unchanged. And if you look at the total number of ministers and deputy ministers sacked, we are talking about 19 ministers and deputy ministers currently sacked. 15 ministers and deputies who are MPs have now been sacked. Then we have 6 ministers and deputy ministers have been reassigned. And we have 5 female appointees currently.
Okay, let's now track when it comes to the size of the Akufo-Addo's government, when it comes to ministers over the period.
So he started with 126 ministers in his first term. The second term, he reduced this number significantly to 86. After the reshuffle, we are still talking about 86. President Mahama is promising 60. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is also promising 50, Evans.
Now, the size of government has now become a topical matter. It's now a hot political subject. It is a campaign message. Yeah. There's almost a competition now between the NDC and the MPP regarding who can run the leanest government.
Absolutely.
John Mahama had gone ahead to say 60. Then you have the vice president saying 50. We'll hear from the NDC pretty shortly on this particular subject. They had made the point clearly today that this was an opportunity for the president to signal that they were really serious about having a lean government, and they're criticizing the president for sticking with the numbers. Now, let's now talk about those who are in and those who are out, those sacked and those who got their jobs maintained or got fresh appointments.
Let's start from the finance ministry, where Ken Ofori-Atta is being replaced by Mohammed Amin Adam.
Okay, and Mohammed Amin Adam was the minister, so stick there.
Absolutely.
So Ken sacked, Mohammed Amin Adam promoted.
Absolutely. So let's go to the health ministry. Koko Ajima-Menu has been sacked. Dr. Bernard Okoboy now comes from the NHIS to the health ministry.
One time he was a deputy at the health ministry. He's been now appointed the substantive minister. And we know Koko Ajima-Menu had quite a bit of controversy in the heat of COVID. Parliament looked into the affairs of how he managed the vaccines. Now, that in itself remains unresolved largely because although the findings were damning, we're yet to hear a proper decision by Parliament as to what to do with him. The president has let him go today.
I don't know if you call this one a promotion. Interior Ministry of Ambrose Derry being replaced by Henry Kote, who is currently the Greater Accra Regional Minister.
Also used to be a deputy in that particular position. Also, Ambrose Derry again sacked. And then you have information, Kojo Ponkrumah, he's been removed from there but moved to elsewhere.
Absolutely.
We'll come to that pretty shortly. But
and his deputy has been promoted to become the Minister for Information Environment. There's Dr. Kwekwe Friye being replaced by Ophelia Mensah Hayford. Roads and Highways Ministry, Kwesi Amwakwata, who we have been told that has actually told the president that due to some personal reasons he wanted to step down, now being replaced by Francis Asenso-Boakye. Works and Housing Ministry.
Now was the Works and Housing Minister.
Yeah, exactly.
Now gone, replaced by who?
So there's a perfect substitution, if you may call it here. Asenso-Boakye now being replaced by Kojo Oponkroma, who left the Information Ministry, now at the Works and Housing Ministry. Gender and Lariba Abudu has been replaced by Daquan Newman.
And it's important, and if you join us on PMS, we'll be going through the themes in some greater depth.
Yeah.
Because she, the gender minister, who now has been sacked, lost her primary. So one of the key things you're looking at is what has the president done today when it comes to those who lost their primaries. And you're beginning to see the theme emerge that if you lost your primary, you're less likely to hold on to your position in his government.
In fact, we've been counting 15 MPs who are they've been sacked, and about 7 of them lost. I think 5 or 4 lost during the primary. Most of them are females. And the number of female in terms of the gender mix, if you look at the current number of ministers, you have 16 out of the 86 being female. If you do the counting properly, now we have 15. So the number has been reduced from 16 to 15. But we understand that the reshuffle is not done yet, so maybe we may see the number change. But if you look at the current figures that we have, the number of females has been reduced from 16 now to 15 per checks.
Okay, so thanks for that, Kofi, helping us appreciate the big themes emerging from the president's reshuffle, the first major one in 7 years. My colleague Elton Brobe has also been working his sources in government because there are few of the ministers sacked, notably the finance minister, that we are picking up additional information about. Elton, what's going to happen to the finance minister now? Jobless, yes, but apparently not for too long.
Exactly, Evan. So information we have picked is that the former finance minister, Kenneth Peralta, may still serve in government, but under a new portfolio. I checked with some persons close to the presidency at the 4th floor, indicates that the proposal has been put before the finance minister to accept the role of senior presidential advisor on the economy. He will also serve as the president's special envoy on international investment and capital markets. This is information we picked this morning, and from what we are being told, there appears to be some kind of perception. So there may be an official communication to that effect in the coming days. He's not the only person that's been offered new roles in the government, even though they've been reshuffled. There's also the former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Dr. Kwekwe. What we have picked is that he's also been slated to be appointed as a president, special envoy on climate. And this has become a global issue, the reason why he's been appointed. So these two names are the ones we have picked. First, the former finance minister, appointed to serve as special advisor on the economy, and also president's special envoy on international investment and capital market. And then former environment minister for group affiliate, also been penciled for new role as the president's special envoy on climate.
Interesting indeed, Elton. Thank you very much. Working his sources, bringing us that pretty latest information as to what will happen to some of the substantive ministers who lost their jobs today, including the finance minister. Well, as you've been hearing today, the president has kept his number of ministers as 86. The NDC has been addressing a news conference today, addressed by the General Secretary, Fifi Kwete, and has been taking on the president for maintaining the size despite the loud calls.
Today's reshuffle by President Akufo-Addo, rather than offering a beacon of hope for a leaner, more efficient government, has instead upheld the status quo. It is a profound disappointment and a missed opportunity to heed the people's call for change. This action, or rather inaction, underscores a blatant disregard for the nation's plea for governance that puts the people's welfare above political expediency. It is particularly disheartening to witness the recycling of ministers who, over the past 7 years, have demonstrated a stark inability to propel our nation forward. This reshuffle, far from being a strategic realignment, is merely a superficial rearrangement of pieces on a board, with no real intent to address the systemic failures that plague our governance. Dr. Bawumia's slogan, "It is possible," now begs the question. If indeed it is possible, why not now? If indeed it is possible, why the waits, if not for political convenience at the expense of the national well-being of Ghana? This reshuffle could have been a moment of bold leadership, a signal of a genuine commitment to reform. Yet, it stands as a testament to a government marking time, lacking the vision or the will to implement the drastic changes Ghana so urgently requires. As the NDC, under the distinguished leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has said, we reaffirm our commitment to the people of Ghana, a commitment to deliver governance that is not only efficient and lean, but also transparent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of every Ghanaian. When John Dramani Mahama says 60 ministers and no more, you can virtually take that to the bank. It's as good as gold.
And that is the General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete. Joining me now is the General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia-Frimpong, who publicly demanded a reshuffle of a sort. He joins us right now. Thank you, Mr. Kodia-Frimpong, for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers also.
I know you've penned a statement that has been released a short few minutes ago in which you applaud the president for this particular decision. You just heard your counterpart in the NDC say it is superficial.
Well, Evans, let me, on your platform, comment and applaud the president for the massive reshuffle that he has done today. And we all know and understand that the dictates of our constitution, he has the sole power to appoint, disappoint, transfer, reshuffle, and dismiss ministers as and when he deems fit. And as a party, we are excited about the names that are coming in. And it has brought new faces. It has re-energized the rank and file of our party. And we are excited. Today is a very good day. No wonder today happens to be Valentine's Day. So I will also on this platform express our utmost appreciation and gratitude to our former ministers and deputy ministers for the sacrifice, the commitment that they put forward to serve the government, Mother Ghana, and our party. And for those who have been appointed, we are expecting so much from them. And I'm happy that many of these appointees are young people. And it serves as motivation for the youth in our party that if you work very hard, if you serve very hard, that you can also be rewarded. And it's also paving a way once they are able to succeed and bring much successes to this government, this party, for others who are also following suit. One striking reason why I'm overly excited is that we have had some ministers who had served as ministers during President Kufuor's era. Some have also served during President Kufuor's era. And by human analysis, it's possible that they will not be part of the next Bawumia government. And therefore, all things being equal, if you have young people getting an appointment to serve, and in this period, at least there is high motivation for them to work very hard and succeed, knowing very well that if His Excellency Bawumia wins the election, there's a high possibility that they will continue to serve as ministers. So it's good for us. At least it's going to bring new energy into this government.
Okay, and to that point of new energy, though, I know you get an opportunity to sit in cabinet as General Secretary. Let me ask you, with only 10 months to go now, what really is the point of this? Isn't this too little, too late?
I don't believe so. Mind you, the Constitution gives the President the power from now to January 7th. So even if January 5th he feels that he has to make changes, he can do so. So constitutionally, he has the right to do that. And in political life, 10 months is a long period. I always use Honorable Brian Champa as an example. When he was made the Minister for Agriculture, it didn't take long for people to see the innovations and intervention that he has brought to the ministry. What is important is what the person is bringing on board, the vision that the person has, the innovative idea that the person is bringing on board. And in the next couple of weeks and months, all of us are in Ghana. We'll be able to attest whether they are performing or not. December 7 will decide whether when they were appointed within the 10 months, whether they were able to perform or not. For me, let's measure them based on the results. I don't think it's late. At least 10 months is a very good period for them to showcase what they can do.
Because you mentioned results, it reminds me of the president who just effected this reshuffle when he was first elected and took office. He used the same line that don't look at the number, look at the results. And many now point to the reality is there for us to see. We are an IMF program. We are facing an economic crisis, worse in the generation. Why should we look at this latest reshuffle with only 10 months to go, but very little time to do anything, with a budget already approved, etc., to believe that there will be any substantial outcome to justify this very late change? You yourself is on record weeks back asking the president to do this very thing because you knew time was running out. Time has run out, has it not?
Well, to refresh our memory, the time that I made the statement was in December. Now we are in early part of February. So let us not make it seem as if I made a statement at the beginning of last year. Having said that, yes, we understand that as a country we have been through several turbulence. We understand that as a country we have had several challenges. The decision the president took in the midst of the turbulence, in the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the challenges that we face, for me, I think it was the best. In crisis, you don't rush to make changes. At least you will wait for the storms to settle down before you take certain decisions. It's just like driving a car and the car is maybe heading towards the ditch. In the process, you want to change the driver. You will crash the car. You wait for the driver to navigate the process and get to a safe landing. So if you then things have settled down, you want to bring changes, that's fine. Secondly, as to you making the point that it's late, I've already reiterated the point that the results will speak for itself. For me, 10 months is still good enough for people to make positive impact in this economy. Again, Evans, we must understand that politics and governance is not a private administration or private affair, whereby you can just simply say that, one, it doesn't matter the person's relationship with the staff, it does not matter how the person carries himself. So far as the company is making profit, all is well. It doesn't work in politics. Politics has to do with human relations. Politics has to do with your interactions with several civil society, several stakeholders. So you may have all the ideas, you may have all the solutions, but if your relationship with other key stakeholders is not the best, it tends to affect you. I don't want to believe that some of the ministers are leaving because they have not performed. Some have performed exceptionally well. There are some who, for one or two reasons, some health reasons, some also fatigue, have made a point that they wanted to exit the government.
Who is this? Who is going on the health?
Of course, you don't expect me to say on this on public. Oh, so there are several reasons. And apart from that, like I indicated to you, the president has his vision. The government has his vision. The party also has his vision. For me, the positive side that I take from this reshuffle is that looking at the caliber of people who are coming on board, it gives us hope. People who are coming on board, they know that within 10 months, if they're able to excel, if they're able to quickly and fastly implement government policies and policies, and good people of Ghana see in a positive light, then there's a high possibility to go further to help our electoral fortunes and also to help them in the next government, because then they will have records to defend, they will have record to stick to. So for me, those are the positive highlights I look for. For this reshuffle.
Why did the president decide to stick with 86 ministers when Labour, civil society, clergy have all asked that he shows that he understands where the economy is currently and reduce the number of ministers? Why did he decide that?
But you are aware that, as I speak to you, ministers' salaries have been cut to about between 50 to 70%. You are also aware that certain bonuses and certain incentives that whether were given to ministers are no more there. If you calculate it, you want to look at the quantum, and then I can tell you maybe we are operating around 50 or 60 ministers. Furthermore, as a president, he went around to campaign based on his ideas, and he was voted for. At the end of the day, Ghanaians will be able to judge whether he has been able to achieve his mandate or not. So as to how he's going to do it, we should give him the benefit of that as president of the country to rule this country and to also deliver.
And this has been done exactly a week after your flag bearer, the vice president, declared that for him, he will work with less than 50 ministers. This surely undermines his believability, undermines his chances in the eyes of, the right-thinking people. And the NDC is already taking advantage of that, making the point that if 50 is good enough next year, it should be good enough today.
Well, certainly, I don't want to give any credence to the statement by the NDC General Secretary. If in 2012, the spare driver could tell Ghanaians that he was just a spare driver and Ghanaians should vote for him because he has a vision to transform this country, it's also good for a mate to a driver to also make the statement that, yes, he was a mate, but when he becomes the president, he also has his own vision and also going to work within his policy and vision. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As vice president, he's supposed to serve the president. Therefore, it does not make the president and president position coterminous. The vice president has his own vision and the thing that he wants to do. And that is why last week, when he delivered his speech last week, he made that point that, yes, he was the vice president of this country. He thanked the president for the opportunity that he has given to him, and he has served his master very well. And as vice president, he was able to do A, B, C, D. And he also admitted the challenges that we face as a country, and also going forward, the thing that when he becomes president, he will do. So at least we all have our own vision, and I believe the vision that the vice president has espoused, when Ghanaians give him the nod, he should be able to achieve the vision for our government.
But you don't disagree that if 50 ministers is good enough to run this country in 2025, it certainly should be good enough to run this country today. That's right. You're running as a party, as a governing party on December 7th. That undermines your credibility as a group.
Well, certainly not. Because at the end of the day, like I indicated to you, President Kufuor went around 2020 and he was voted for based on his vision and his ideas for
that is factual, but his actions affected your chances at the polls.
At the end of the day, he's doing his best as president of the country. And we have a new leader who's also going around telling Ghanaians what he would do should he become president. At least I, as a party, we want to see what our next president, Baumia, will do for us.
So you're happy with the 86, just for the record?
Well, if at the end of the day, it will give us the results, why not?
Okay. Justin Kodiafrimpong, thank you very much. Let me bring in now Andy Apiakubi. Is MP for Asanchachim North constituency. As you know, the biggest news, the biggest headline from the reshuffle today is the sacking of Ken Ofori-Atta. Well, he is no more, and he has faced, from his own ranks, a campaign to be sacked more than a year ago. Well, we can now bring in one of the loudest voices who championed that cause from his own ranks in Parliament, and the Apiakubi joins us on the telephone line right now. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Top Story.
Oh, thank you very much, my brother. You're welcome.
You asked for this. You have it. Happy now?
Yes, we thank God. We thank the President.
You thank God, and I missed the last one you said.
We thank the President also for listening to the cry of the majority of the members of Parliament, majority side.
You wanted it a year ago. It's come a year too late, has it not?
We wanted it more than a year ago. We had a half, nearly 2 years. But as the saying goes, it's better late than never.
Well,
it would have been better if he had responded to us at the time we asked. But he gave us also reasons why he thought that it was not appropriate to do it at the time. So we give him the benefit of his decision. And for now, he has listened to us after this long wait. So we would have thought that it would have happened before, but it didn't happen now. We are still grateful.
Will you disagree that the damage has already been done?
We were not complaining about any damage. We were complaining that if we had him vacate the position, we would be able probably to do better than we were doing at the time.
Exactly my point. You said you would be able to do better. Well, he stayed on for a year and a half more. That aspiration, it's too late now to reverse what has happened.
Well,
under his watch.
it is not too late. It is a little late, but not too late. And again, since it didn't happen that we have a new person in the seat to do that which we expected, there is no basis of comparison as to what we would have gotten and what we got. So we will say that given the new opportunity, those people stepping into these shoes should do better to bring glory to the president and our government.
And from what we understand, Ofuriatta may remain in some capacity as an advisor. Do you want him anywhere near the government affairs, advising on economic issues?
It would be most unfair to want to throw one person of government outside the government and even outside a party totally. It would be most unfair. And nobody complained that Mr. Ofuriatta didn't have any capacity to perform within this environment. Nobody complained like that. What our complaint was that we thought that it would be better if Mr. Ofuriatta was not the finance minister. We did not also challenge his competence in other areas. So if President finds space for him in his government in another capacity, we cannot complain that it is right or it's not right. I think that it is within the president's mandate to find people to support his administration. If he finds a new space for him and he thinks that he performed better in that position, we only just thank him and pray that he performs to the expectation of the president and Ghanaians and the government.
I mean, you won your primary, despite the acrimony leading into it. Many were expecting that at least Andy Appiah Kubi's name will be part of this list when I start reading it. It's not in there. Disappointed?
I don't think that I have any special mandate or capacity to demand a calling. Indeed, the president has the prerogative to decide as to who to use in his administration. And indeed, a president's vision is what every one of us is helping to drive. And if the president thinks that these other players in his team will do better for him at this present time for the purpose of maximizing the gains of his administration in time, so would it be. My only wish is that I pray that they do well to the glory of God, Mr. President, and our government. So our prayers are with them that they perform to the expectations of the president, the government, and every Ghanaian.
And very finally, you will be campaigning. You'll be hoping that you win your election in your constituency on December 7. The record of this government, you'll be judged by the record of this government. The president decided to keep this number of ministers as 86, despite the loud calls from civil society, clergy, and labor. For you, as an individual politician, waging your own campaign in your constituency, does that help your cause?
Well, it is not only we are not going to campaign only on the size of government, but we are going to campaign on the achievements of government. And again, we are going to campaign in our respective constituencies. And the level of performance of government in the various constituencies differ from one to the other. And in my own personal constituency, I think we have done a lot of development projects that I can point to in my campaign. Indeed, I have never complained about size of government. The reason I do so is that I know that many people in government do not earn anything beyond what they earn in different capacities still within the economy. For instance, so many members of parliament are ministers, and these ministers receive their salary from parliament and therefore do the extra work of ministers without any consideration. So in that case, I don't see how one person taking two portfolios in the administration will be spending too much money, as would have done with different individuals who have come into those positions.
And I'm delighted that at least you got to speak to us. I'm grateful that you joined us. Thank you very much. Andy Apiakubi, MP for Asanchechem North constituency. He was, call him the rebel leader, when the MPP MPs took to the microphones and campaigned for Ken Ofori-Atta to go. He says this is what he asked for. They got it. It's a little too late, but not too late, he says. Let me hear your view on this particular subject. And George Afi and Co are joining me with sports and business, and still ahead here on News Night. The three teacher unions talked tough tonight. They have given the special prosecutor 3 days to release frozen salaries of over 400 of their members or face the wrath.
It is the view of the unions that questioning where the OSP got his authority from.
We have details as the OSP insists those names are either ghosts or suspected ghosts. Also tonight, uninspiring, little too late, and will not have any impact on governance. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo's much anticipated reshuffle faces strong public disapproval, even though he kicked out Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, Health Minister Ajima Menu, and some old guards from his team in a brutal government shakeup.
This is too little coming too late. I'm sure most people say the same. And I think so far what he's done is not going to make much difference. We left with about 10 months. I don't know for sure what these new appointees are going to do to make a difference in governance.
Also tonight, banks, telcos and the General Legal Council among 115 institutions owing University of Ghana over $1.3 million in rent as the school laments difficulties in getting the institutions to defray their debt. Also, we'll give you details from the Public Accounts Committee sitting today that several public universities have millions of cedis locked up in the defunct financial institutions.
And what lies ahead for the new Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, details in business in 30 minutes.
And in sports, Minister for Youth and Sports tells Parliament the state is set to organize a national dialogue on the current poor states of the Black Stars and sports development in the country.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports is aware of disappointments among the Ghanaian populace and therefore intend to put measures that will lead to the national dialogue of all stakeholders to come up with modern and inclusive way of managing our national teams.
We have details as MPs lament the poor showing of the Black Stars at the 2023 AFCON.
The $3 million that we have spent for just these 3 matches, the abysmal performance, is in excess of what other countries budgeted for the entire tournament. Nigeria, $1.3 million.
More from Parliament, where Save Ghana football protesters have presented a petition to the House.
I want to stay with us for that and more, all here on News Night. And I'm looking forward to what you'll be saying about the reshuffle. 05511119997. All that after this.
Breaking news. Vodafone Ghana is becoming Telecel. Stay tuned.
Great news is here. Batmat is here again. XXL clearance sale. Guaranteed savings. From now till the end of April, the big sale continues. Get discounts of up to 70% off sanitary wares, light tiles, waterproofing, and all other product families. It's the year to get things done. Visit our showroom at the North Industrial Area next to the Winners Chapel, Ghana. Don't miss out. Batmat, welcome home.
And with all the conviction and excitement in his heart, he goes on his knees, holding out the ring and pops up the question, "Will you marry me?" And there she goes, handing him her hand while sweetly responding, "Yes, I will." This will be the story of that lucky couple who will initiate their forever journey come the 14th of February in the Proposal on Joy Valentine promo. It will be a night of love, sweet melodies, beauty, pleasure, affection, loads of giveaways, and many surprises. everything will be on the house. If you wish to join us on the 14th with your partner, please reserve a seat by sending your names to 055 1111997 and hashtag Valentine on Joy. We will get back to you with your registration code. If you also wish to do something special for your partner that night, please let us know and we will make it happen for you. Motorola Ghana will be giving out some sleek phones and souvenirs, while Achadie has some beautiful love hampers to give away. The proposal on Joy FM is brought to you by Motorola Ghana and supported by Labadi Beach Hotel, Proposal GH, and Achadie Fie. The proposal on Joy. Love is indeed beautiful.
Thanks for staying with us here on News Tonight. And we start off from the Labour front. I'm sure we are hoping to speak more about the reshuffle. But let's talk about this first. And the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and their sister unions are demanding the release of their January salaries of over 400 of their members by the Special Prosecutor. In fact, they're giving the Special Prosecutor up to Friday, the 16th of February 2024 for that to happen. The unions are accusing the OSP of freezing their members' salary without prior notice or reason. They've since given them that deadline they've been talking about. But my colleague, Kenneth JC, was at the press conference. He joins me in studio with details of what we're learning from them. Now, Ken, did the unions mention their next line of action if the OSP does not release their salaries?
They were not very specific, but they did mention that initially there were 1,300 of their members who had their salaries frozen, and then they had to engage authorities, and then the numbers were reduced to 300 after more than 900 of theirs, of other members' own were released, and they are questioning the authority that the OSP has to take such an action.
Upon investigation, we realized that the OSP did not even resort to the Director General or any official of the Ghana Education Service before directing that these salaries be stopped. It is the view of the unions that questioning where the OSP got his authority from. And even if he does have that authority, whether it is not prudent to have informed the managers of these teachers or the employers of these teachers, that is Ghana Education Service, before directing that their salaries should be suspended. Is the OSP telling us that he has the power to direct workers not to work or direct workers not to be paid their salaries? On what basis? What if the basis of the OSP is flawed?
And they mentioned that this decision was taken on their blind side?
Yes, they were not consulted. They were cleared to receive their salaries from the Controller and Accountant General. So they're saying that even if their salaries will be frozen, actually getting to that end, only the court has that authority and not the OSP.
Look at it very carefully. The teachers were validated by their heads of institutions that are supposed to validate them, meaning that they are at post. Controller and Accountant General pays the people. Controller transfers the money to the person's bank, and then a special prosecutor goes to instruct the bank that though the person has been paid and the money has come, block the person's account. Don't allow the person to access the account. In this country, it is only the courts that have the power to garnish somebody's account.
So that's a rep for NAT there speaking on the Concerned Teachers Association.
Yes.
Well, but you've been contacting the Office of the Special Prosecutor on
Right.
this. They've been giving you some information. What do we know?
The Office of the Special Prosecutor says it's conducting an audit of ghost names on government's payroll. This is something that they put out in the public domain, that they are trying to detect the ghost names on government payroll. So they are withholding that money, trying to investigate whether they are real people who are taking that salaries or not.
And did they say how long this is going to be done, and how come they didn't inform the teachers about it?
They mentioned that it's something that is in the public domain, so
Okay.
they really did not need to inform the teachers, because they expect them to know that since your salaries have been withheld, you should know that you're being audited. That is why when they contacted the appropriate authorities, over 900 of the ones they were done investigating were released.
Okay, and that's my colleague Kenneth JC there giving us details from that press conference organized by the 3 teacher unions on their salaries of 400 members which have been frozen.
The national president of NAGRA joins us now. Joe Kabonu is on the line. Mr. Kabonu, have you had any contact with the special prosecutor on this to get him to explain to you why this has happened?
Well, from the type of response he gave you, it's an indication of someone who is exhibiting nothing than arrogance, empty arrogance. What do you mean by saying that something is in the public domain, therefore people should know? Where is that one two coming from? That it is in the public domain, therefore the teachers don't need to be informed. Is that the way we work in the public sector? Is that the right way of doing things? When you are dealing with public sector workers, you make a statement that it is in the public domain, therefore they don't need to be informed.
So I'm curious, when did you notice that the salaries have been withheld?
From the end of January, people went for their salary and they realized they couldn't access their salary. So they started wondering what was happening. Only for the bank to tell us that the special prosecutor is giving an order for those salaries to be returned or not to be paid. We checked from Controller and Accountant General Department, and the Controller and Accountant General Department indicated they have paid. It's based on the validation that was done in the various units. So we had to contact the management of the Ghana Education Service. And the management of the Ghana Education Service were not also informed by anybody. Then someone comes to say that it is in the public domain, so that people don't have to be informed.
Well,
look,
that's what they told us. I mean, as the leader of the group, though, have you made an attempt to
no,
directly
it is
speak
because
to
I'm not doubting your report.
Yes, of course it is. But I mean,
Yes.
I presume once you found that and the fingers were pointing at the OSP, you would make a call.
Oh, please. You see, someone can be a lawyer, but that does not give him the competencies to manage public sector anything. This attitude that is being exhibited is an indication that the man could be a very good lawyer, but very, very poor when it comes to leadership.
But Mr. Kabanu, as a leader of a group like this, as NAGRAT, you held a press conference, and one wonders if 400 of your members are affected by this. We thought that you said you had mentioned you had gone to GES amongst others, and once you were told it was the OSP, did we at least reach out before holding this press conference and giving him that ultimatum, sir?
We have also addressed the public through the media, so we expect him also to be informed. The same way he expected us to be informed because the matter is in the public domain, we have also informed him through the media.
But who
So we
suffers?
expect him to
Who
be
suffers?
informed.
400 of your members, their salaries are frozen as we speak. Who suffers?
Look, by Friday, if those salaries are not frozen, nobody should blame us. Because it's a wrong thing. You see, when you are auditing somebody, until audit is completed, and you have conclusively arrived at a result indicating that A, B, and C are not qualified to earn salary, you don't go ahead and inflict misery on people under the guise that you are engaged in auditing.
But even
if don't do that.
You were speaking in parables in terms of what exactly will happen. Maybe you can break it down for me to understand what exactly will happen.
We have indicated, you see, look, he may be the special prosecutor. He has not finished prosecuting people who have been giving bribes in elections and things like that. It is not poor teachers he is coming to zero in on. He has not finished his work, according to he himself. He has not finished his work. He has not finished the auditing process, and yet have taken a conclusive decision of suspending people's income. The 900 salaries that he suspended, which later was released. What happens to the misery that was inflicted on the people during the period that he suspended their salaries and realized that he did the wrong thing? How does he compensate those people for that period where pain and misery was visited on those people?
Kabono, you've given him 3 days. That's up to this Friday, correct?
Please,
This
those
Friday.
people are teachers within the Ghana Education Service. If he does not defreeze the salaries by Friday, he will have to be blamed for whatever happens after Friday.
But Mr. Kabono, we know in this space, if he even gives the notice for the accounts to be defrozen tomorrow or a day after, it won't take effect, would it? You won't get the money
It
immediately.
can take effect this evening.
Really?
The man has done the wrong thing. I mean, you see, this arrogance people are beginning to exhibit in public service is becoming very nauseating, to say the least. People should know that they are dealing with human beings.
Okay, well, but after the press conference, though, we haven't heard anything whatsoever from your employers and then OSP, for instance. At least we've been hearing from him. Have we heard anything since that press conference?
What we are expecting to hear is that by Friday, those salaries are paid to those teachers.
What if they are actually ghosts? Have you found out if all 400 members are actually teachers and not ghosts?
Emefa, it is when you conclude your investigation or your audit that you realize, then you give that, after auditing and investigating the payroll, the following names attached to these various institutions have been identified as ghosts. Therefore, their salaries have been suspended. You are still in the process of investigation. You have not concluded your investigation. And then you are telling me that those people are ghosts. Where do we do such things for?
But Mr. Kabono, if a matter is under investigation, there ought to be some form of action before the investigations can conclude.
By suspending people's salaries?
But if they suspect they are ghosts, what do they do?
If somebody, you see, he is suspected that the people are ghosts. To suspect somebody is a ghost is not to say the person is a ghost. You are suspecting that the person is a ghost. Until you conclude that the person is a ghost, you can also describe the person as a ghost.
Okay. Mr. Kabono, we are grateful. We'll leave it here for now. That's the NAGRAT president there on their press conference they held earlier. We'll still wait to hear more from the Office of the Special Prosecutor on this particular matter.
You can anticipate a showdown on Friday. You're still listening to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. And I want to take you to Parliament now, where banks, telecommunication companies, and General Legal Counsel have now been disclosed among some 115 institutions owing rent to the University of Ghana, amounting to some $1.3 million.
Well, the amount as captured in the Auditor General's report are debt the institutions accrued from using various facilities and rent spaces on the University of Ghana campus as of October 2022. Well, these and other infractions came up when management of the university appeared before the Public Accounts Committee hearing today. You can listen to Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can confirm that for the banks, most of them have redeemed themselves. Outside of HSEs, of Minicom, of Smart, Stanbic, most of the banks are off. They have redeemed themselves. And the schedule has been shared with the auditors. So they have.
But then there are other very solid institutions in here, like these telcos that are still owing, like Airtel, Tigo. I see them here. Aside Airtel, Tigo, there are other institutions that have the balances that have not been paid for over a year. There are a lot of them here, like Vodafone similar. You have Media Design, the same. You have Amalgamated Network, the same thing. So there are more of them.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are tenants, and it's an ongoing transaction that happens on a daily basis. We are using all options. We even still work with them. So you pay up and then you incur debt, but this is what is happening, and we are following them and exploring all options. Those that are proving difficult, we have actually handed them over to the legal counsel to also explore other avenues. It's been quite difficult, but we are doing all we can to use all options available to us. Thank you.
Item number 42 in the table.
the general legal, what's the name? What's the full name?
General Legal Counsel Office.
Oh, my general legal counsel. they owe you $144,000, and they paid. No, it's dollars. And they paid 15,000.
Interesting there, but my colleague James Aveji was at the Public Accounts Committee sitting today. He joins us in studio, so I'm particularly interested in that matter.
Yeah.
So what was the committee's final verdict on it?
Well, from the explanation from the Vice Chancellor, it looks like an issue that has become difficult because these institutions who are owing them are still occupying the spaces. So it's like by the time they finish paying the rent, they had already accrued another one, and then the cycle continues that way. And so the committee chair advised that at least if to prevent this, they shouldn't be allowed to compound more of it, but they should keep it at a level that if the need be, they can be able to retrieve easily.
So it looks like it's not just rent that is taking part of the investees' money. We are told that up to 5 million cedis, $5 million or cedis locked up in some financial institutions. Is it cedis or dollars?
Yes, in fact, 5 million Ghana cedis locked up in the financial institutions. 5 of them actually, the NDK Financial Services, NTHC, Delta Capital, as well as Gold Coast Security and UT Savings and Loans. And so those companies, the University of Ghana actually invested into them. The total amount was actually 8 million Ghana cedis, but over time they've been able to retrieve some, but the rest is still left with them. The university is saying that they've taken the issue to court. They've taken at least 3 of them to court to try and see how they can be able to retrieve that.
So the total value of the suits is how much?
Of the suits is in the region of 5 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes. Minus interest.
Minus interest.
From your answer, it will appear to me that you have filed a suit against almost all of them, except UT Savings and Loans, and then Gold Securities. So if that is the case, the 2 of them amounts to only 80,000. Then you have filed a suit against everybody, but you are saying it's around 5 million, which is not correct.
Mr. Chairman, we are in discussions. There is one that we are yet to sue. We engaged them. They sent us a response essentially indicating that the value of our investment has gone down, and that if you were to do any of the investment, we are going to lose about 50%. But this is a decision that has to be taken by the appropriate structure of the university. So this is a matter that we are going to discuss, and then based on the decision that is taken, we'll engage them further and know exactly what to do. Whether we should go for the haircut or we should insist.
And the University of Ghana is not alone in this.
Yes, Emefa. So the Ghana Institute of Journalism, my own university, is also part of them. They have invested some 9 million Ghana cedis locked up with UT Savings and Loans. They have been able to recoup only 100,000 since 2021 till now. The Akentin University, formerly the University of Education Winnipeg campuses in Kumasi, have also invested some 28 million Ghana cedis with them. They are struggling. They've not received even a CD out of it. They are struggling to get their monies out.
And there were concerns about recurring procurement breaches?
Exactly, especially with the University of Ghana again. For instance, in that report, there have been a total of about 7 issues of uncompetitive procurement amounting to some 2.63 million Ghana cedis. The issue was that the concerns they've raised is that the various departments are now becoming like institutions of their own. And so sometimes they go ahead with this kind of procurement without letting the central board know about it. But the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Gordon Awindari, explains that they are trying to instead of decentralizing, even though they are decentralized, they will have to bring all of them in as far as procurement is concerned. If it's beyond a certain threshold, they would have to refer it to the PPA to take charge of that to resolve all of these issues.
But he also told the committee today that somehow they've made profits.
Exactly. It was interesting, Evans, because the University of Ghana, declared about 38 million Ghana cedis profit in the year 2020 and 2021. Let me get the actual figure. So in 2020, they actually declared about 38 million Ghana cedis. Same was for the Ghana Institute of Journalism, who also declared some amount of profit. The Accounting University also declared. Almost all the universities, from the University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, GIJ, GIL, as well as the Ghana Technical Training Center, all declare some amount of profit at the end of each year.
Education is very profitable, isn't it? Well, that's James Aveji there giving us details from what transpired today at the Public Accounts Committee. Evans, have you noticed that he has the same name with the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee? The only difference
the first time I met him. This is James Aveji.
Kwesi Aveji.
Yes. I asked him, are you related? And
it's a multi-million question I have to answer every day.
You are not?
Well.
No. Oh, wow.
Well,
okay.
you know. Thank you very much, James.
Well, let's do some other stories. We'll stay a while longer on the education front, and the infrastructure challenges afflicting senior high schools, particularly evident as Wesley Girls High School, has sparked grave concern as hundreds of girls are compelled to sleep on the floor due to severe overcrowding. Well, this pressing issue highlights the pressure school facilities in high schools are enduring to the growing population. At the 187th speech day at the Wesley Girls School, it was an outward cry for help when the head girl, Abena Benewa Deborah, shed light on the stark reality faced by students. There's more in this report.
The inadequacy of furniture seems to be a challenge that is beginning to persist.
Highlighting the severe overcrowding and congestion plaguing the Wesley Girls High School at its 187th speech day is head girl Abna Benewa Deborah.
But I asked myself, must we suffer when we can seek help? In light of this, I would like to bring to your attention some of the problems we face as a school.
Point by point, and in the presence of the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, Education Minister Yawosei Duchum, and other stakeholders, Abena did not shy away from sharing the stark reality faced by students, grappling with inadequate space because of infrastructure challenges.
The moments in which we gaze upon our sisters, who must use plastic chairs in their classrooms and lack the tables to even comfortably write on, cannot but hold our broken hearts. Again, the inadequacy of computers is far below the standard our dear school has set for herself.
Despite its reputation as a top girls' school in the country, Wesley Girls is now struggling to accommodate the growing student population, raising concerns about the well-being of its students.
Overcrowding seems to be a problem trying to develop tough skin in every corner of our dear school. Even with the introduction of a new house, hundreds of girls are seen sleeping on the floor. This problem also pushes us to eat our meals in 2 batches.
Headmistress Jeanette Ruby Siame indicates that despite consistent help from all students, the school continues to reel from varying challenges.
All that glitters, they say, is not gold. Under the cloak of outward beauty lie a grave bed of dire needs. I will mention just a few. The new assembly hall, Your Honor, needs to be completed. Then again, Your Honor, our bus, you have promised us.
Before Wesley Girls, a similar sentiment was shared last year by their boys' school in Fansipum. Headmaster Kobna Edu revealed the deteriorating infrastructure and ballooning electricity bills also at a speech in prize-giving day.
High cost of electricity. Seven, we are on prepaid, and we always struggle to purchase power. This year alone, from January to October 31st, we have spent 204,000 cedis on prepaid.
But the Education Minister Yawosei Duchum at the Wesley Girls event only addressed a tip of the problem.
I know the headmistress talked about the 4th industrial revolution and the need for computers in the school. I'm happy to tell you that within the next 2 months, every single student in this school will have a tablet computer.
It remains to be seen what these stakeholders will do to enhance the quality of education in these top secondary schools.
That there is a report about Wege. Have you been to your school lately?
Yes, I have.
Because
I know there's overcrowding there as well. Ola Girls. I think it's everywhere now.
The youth students have been doing a lot trying
Yeah.
to help fix that particular challenge, and we have a special investigation that we're actually doing to get to the bottom of what actually is happening, and we'll be adoring it pretty soon. And George Jaffe is also here, of course. I know George went to that school.
Excuse me, did you call the school?
Sorry, I want to read a few
That's
messages.
Prosec Legon.
I want to read a few messages
for the records,
on our
please.
WhatsApp call. So
Okay.
Emefa Apawu, what are people saying about the stories we've done so far?
Okay, I'll just say, if you have nothing to offer your in-laws, you don't end up stealing from them. Why should these poor innocent teachers' plight be worsened by the OSP? Mr. Kabuno has indeed spoken as a true leader of professional SAMI in Kumasi.
And a few of your messages on the subject of the reshuffle. This one says, that's Philip, says the reshuffle of ministers very empty and disappointing. The new ministers will not make any impact on the country, and that's Philip's point. Nana on the Spinters Road. Is there no way to get rid of the MPP and the NDC? They are both incompetent. They both handed the economy management into the hands of the IMF. He says, Charles says, the special prosecutor should stop causing pain to teachers. He failed to retrieve millions of dollars from Cecilia Dapa, so he cannot use teachers to save his face. Steele in Salpont says, no minister or deputy minister has been sacked. He says, would want us to believe that the president has sacked them. On this day of love, whether in or out of the president, loves them all, he says. Well, James in Kumasi says, I don't think this so-called reshuffle will change anything better for Ghanaians. What will it change if a minister is moved from one position to another? Ghana is already in a mess, so I don't expect anything different from this particular reshuffle. Those are a few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Right after George, I will bring you the civil society campaign to end the fish for sex barter in a part of the central region where we've been spending a lot of time, the coastal community of Hafasine.
Education and awareness creation at the community level for the communities to know the harmful effects of these actions.
We'll be in that coastal community in the western region for the very latest on this campaign. The civil society groups mobilizing to deal with the problem. Right up to George's down with business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, what challenges lie ahead for the new Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Details on business tonight. And increases in price of accommodation, clothing, pushes general inflation rate to 23.5%, reversing that continuous decline since July last year. The business news on Newsnight. It's brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Sinter's Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Committee 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website, www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So, remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So, remember Syntex tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntex tank. A strong, a tough.
Ooh, things are looking up on this side.
When you upgrade to the enhanced GCB mobile app, you start doing more with ease.
Create a GCB instant account easily and conveniently with your GCB mobile app and start sending and receiving funds. All you need is your Ghana card.
Pay your bills, subscriptions, and fees to multiple merchants safe and secure.
Charlie, tap the app, open a GCB instant account, and experience the recoded vibe.
You're able to top up on all types of ECG prepaid meters with their special card readers and keep the power on. No worries, no stress.
With GCB mobile app, you can also generate prepaid and virtual cards to use on ATM machines, POS devices, and for online transactions.
Well, I pay my subscriptions and fees with my GCB mobile app conveniently.
GCB mobile app. Download now from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Upgrade your style. GCB Bank. Your bank for life.
Media Sambisana mo. Etiamratia no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodompe mo ma na yakono.
Eye kwabna.
Na mumu hwan so na tumi tasmale me ma yene nyina de.
Eye kojo.
Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodompe mo sense o yusu president eba. Ayede aban ne do braye. Bo si echi na mo ban na sem ma na hoode ne.
Sa
ani na kudwo nso yusu president chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na filu.
Ey kojo.
Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. Yakono natural.
FDIJ Jadion Katuyatu.
Central University, Ghana's leading private Christian university, has open admissions. Apply now for a degree in environmental engineering, fashion design, landscape design, interior design, business administration, economics, law, civil engineering, architecture, computer science, IT, theology, and many others. Degrees are available on our campuses in Mutual, ICGC Christ Temple, Abosokai, and Kumasi. Also enroll in our MBA with various specializations. Scholarships are available for needy but brilliant students. Call us on 0303-318-583 or visit our website at central.edu.gh for more information. Central University, raising transformational leaders through faith, integrity, and excellence.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, is now expected to lead the ministry as the Minister of Finance. Now, this was after he was reassigned today as the Finance Minister, taking over from Ken Ofori-Atta. But for many, what will be the challenges ahead of him? There's more in this report.
One of the immediate challenges that Dr. Mohamed Amin will have to deal with when he fully takes over is pressing ahead with fiscal discipline. In an election year, one thing that will confront him every day is how he ensures that he whips everyone in line and ensure that projects or expenditures not captured in the budget are not financed. This is because election budget overruns have become one of the major causes of the country's economic challenges. Again, how does Dr. Amin Adam warm up to the international community and donors and ensure that he is his own man, looking at the challenges that Ken Ofori-Atta had to deal with as finance minister? For others, the question is, will Dr. Amin be able to review some decisions taken by Ken Ofori-Atta, particularly decisions that have not gone down well with the public, especially when it comes to the recent taxes introduced by government? Winning the confidence of the international investor community may also be another major challenge that Dr. Amin Adam may have to grapple with, coming on the back of the domestic debt exchange program and debt restructure. Well, there are some who will argue that, looking at the fact that Ghana is under an IMF program, there may not be much for the new Minister of Finance. For some, being a finance minister in an election year will be a huge task, but will Dr. Amin Adam live up to this challenge? Well, time will tell.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, meanwhile, economist Dr. Patrick Usumi says the time might be too short for Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam to bring about any turnaround in the economy in terms of policy direction.
Personally, from an economist point of view, I think this particular nomination changes a little bit of the orientation of the finance ministry. At the beginning of the current administration, I felt that there was a little bit of an imbalance in the composition of the finance ministry in terms of having people who have experience mostly in investment banking and financial engineering, which to some extent explains some of the policies that we saw. Now, the new appointee or the person who has been nominated seems to have some background in economics. If you think about it broadly, we are in the middle of an IMF program. So in terms of the broad macroeconomic policies, you probably shouldn't expect a change because there's been a change in the finance ministry. Who is the finance minister?
And that is Dr. Patrick Usumi. He is an economist sharing his thoughts on the new Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Now, increase in the price of accommodation including help push general inflation rate to 23.5%. Now, that's according to data released by the Ghana Statistical Service today. There is more in this report.
Inflation rate has been on the decline since July last year, and it was expected that this trend will continue in 2024. However, spike in price of accommodation and clothing reversed this trend. The Ghana Statistical Service data showed that non-food inflation rate over the past month also saw the highest increase compared to that of food inflation rate. The Ghana Statistical Service data also showed that the general price levels of goods and services for items produced locally were higher compared to that of imported items. Alcoholic beverage, tobacco and narcotics posted the highest increase over the past year. Imported tea bag again posted the highest price increase among items being reviewed. Interestingly, Greater Accra recorded the lowest rate of increase for the month of January.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnini noted that activities during the Christmas season might have contributed to the January inflation spike.
Data collection for Ghana Statistical Service for a particular month normally will be done by the end of the second week of the month. We target the first week to collect our data to reflect what happens in the month, but in the worst case where we are not able to cover all the outlets, that is the 8,307 outlets, it spills over to the second month. And this data is from January 2024. So certainly, if we are looking at whether the festive period impacted on it, depending on spending and the type of spending, then in the month of January 2023, one might want to argue that the festive period made some impact on that. The second question in terms of the drivers of non-food, as was rightly articulated, clothing, alcoholic beverages, electricity, gas, other fuels, were the top 3 out of the top 5 items that drove non-food inflation for the month of January 2024.
And that is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnini. Now, MTN subscribers could soon be notified directly about the service disruption, time taken for it to be fully restored for them. Now, this is part of efforts to deal with service delivery challenges and improve customer experience. Solomon Dadivo, the chief executive of MTN Ghana, has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition, which airs tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Phone just rings and you hear a voice telling you this is MTN. We've just realized that your fiber network has gone down. We just want to let you know that we are aware of this and we will update you in 30 minutes on the situation. We apologize for the inconvenience. What we have done here is we've first of all notified you proactively. You don't have to look under your table to figure out if the power has gone off, to figure out if it's your computer or something else. People go through a lot of pain to isolate where the problem is coming from before they realize that it's a fiber outage. At least now we're telling you. But we're also setting the expectation that within 30 minutes, you'll get an update from us on where we are with the problem. And hopefully that problem is fixed.
Solomon Dadivo is Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, speaking on PM Express Business Edition, which will be aired at 9 p.m. on Thursday, and be more even on his move to the group to look at their commercial operations. Let's still stay with the telecom jam, because MTN has reiterated its commitment to the well-being of the population to aid economic development. Chief Corporate Services and Sustainability Officer at MTN, Ajay Frieri, said this at the blood donation exercise today, and it's part of efforts to also contribute their quota to the National Blood Bank.
Basically a voluntary blood donation exercise. We have been doing this since 2011 on every Valentine's Day as a way of giving back to society. Giving life is one of the most important things that anybody can do. That is what we are doing today, mobilizing our employees to donate and also the general public across the country. So we are in all 16 regions to support the National Blood Service. So far we've done 26,000 units. Last year we did 6,440 units. This year our target is to get 7,000 units.
Free Area Face, the Chief Corporate Services and Sustainability Officer here at MTN Ghana. And that's all for business on the News Night. Back to you, Evans and Emefa.
I'll take you up on that offer.
Okay.
Well, yesterday we started a story about the plight of teenage girls in Hafasini in the Western region. And shortly we'll bring you details of that, because there's a campaign now to deal with that particular challenge there, where girls are now exchanging sex for fish. But let's do sports time, as Barry's here with the latest.
Hello, Evans. Well, today was a big day for Ghana football, and we're going to start from Parliament because the Minister for Youth and Sports has been speaking to Parliament and has been telling Parliament that the state is set to organize a national dialogue on the current poor states of the Black Stars and football development in the country. Now, we understand the Black Stars, of course, put up a very poor performance at the recent international tournament, and the general decline of sports in the country has attracted major concern. Now, Mustafa Yusuf described this current state of things relative to football as unacceptable. He's been speaking on the floor of Parliament.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports is aware of disappointments among the Ghanaian populace, and therefore intend to put measures that will lead to the national dialogue of all stakeholders to come up with modern and inclusive way of managing our national teams. Way forward, Mr. Speaker, the Black Star performance in the last major tournament, that is 2021 AFCON in Cameroon, 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, and the 2023 AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, where Ghana exits at the group stage of all these three major tournaments, notwithstanding government continuous huge investments in the team is not acceptable.
Now, the minister also confirmed that Ghana budgeted more than $8 million for the AFCON, got releases of more than $5 million, and spent over $3 million.
Mr. Speaker, our estimated budget for the 2023 African Cup of Nations tournament was $8,506,450 United States dollars. And this was to cater for the pre-tournament stages, that is our pre-campaign stages, the tournament phase, that's the group stages, and also the 1/16 stage, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the finals, if we have gone through all the stages up to finals.
Well, earlier today, thousands of Ghanaians did hit the streets, calling for the stakeholders, the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ghana Football Association, to do all they can to arrest the dwindling fortunes of Ghana football. Of course, they did present a petition to Parliament, which was received by Frank Anodompre, the Majority Chief Whip. I also presented another to the Ministry of Youth and Sports and also the Ghana Football Association. Well, later tonight, we will be having an extensive conversation on that on Prime Sports on the Joy News channel. And also later at 8 p.m., the Champions League action continues, the round of 16, and tonight is going to be Bayern Munich versus Lazio. Live commentary coming your way on Hits FM over there. Even that's the wrap on sports.
Thank you very much.
Now, yesterday we started a story about the plight of teenage girls in Halfasini in the Western region who are engaged in offering sex for fish due to their parents' inability to cater to their needs. Well, program officer responsible for gender integration at Hienam Puano, a civil society organization working to build capacities of fisher folks in coastal communities, has waded into the discourse. But first, this is Stanley Niblow's full report read to you.
Halfasini is one of 26 coastal communities in the Jomo municipality of the Western region with prevalent teenage sexual exploitation. Its vibrant shore attracts lots of town folks daily when canoes that go for fishing expeditions land ashore. On occasions where the fishermen have a substantial catch, teenage girls who come to the beach to beg for fish for their families' upkeep become the target of sexual exploitation, as every fish they receive from the fishermen is paid back through sex. As a result, teenage pregnancy and single parenthood are a common phenomenon in the community, with little being done by local stakeholders to address the situation. The practice is termed by indigenes as fish for sex, and this is confirmed by the deputy manager of the Jomo Fisheries Commission, Irene Obing.
So due to that, a man manufactures advantage, then we sleep with you.
The girls are young, so the fishermen take advantage of the situation and have sex with them. Fish for sex is prevalent here.
The barter sex trade is fueled largely by poverty and parental neglect. Semenya Maxwell, a fisherman with more than a decade fishing experience, opens up on the level of exploitation.
With the fish aspect, everybody will be struggling for the fish. So if you can assess the one who is there and he's also giving you, and he also asks something, that means you also give. So to be give and take, give you fish, give me sex, barter system in that way.
According to Maxwell, married women committing infidelity for favors of fish gifts also exist in the community. At the Anlo line, a set of fishermen have returned from a fishing expedition and are pulling their catch ashore. Adra, a 17-year-old single parent and a victim of sexual exploitation, is among people who have come to the London beach. She explains what she uses the fish she receives from the men for.
He has been bringing the fish home when we started dating. I sell some and use the rest to prepare dish for the family.
Adra was forced to end the relationship with her child's father after accusing him of using fish to lure other teenage girls.
We broke up because he cheated.
Comfort, a shore laborer, recounted how she influenced her friend to exchange sex for fish.
A fisherman expressed interest in my friend, so anytime I come to the shore, he gives me octopus and other big fishes to give to her. When he needs her to, he tells me to convey the message to my friend to meet him up.
Now, education of the victims of the community's sexual exploitation is abruptly truncated once pregnancy sets in. Wanda, a native of Brekusu in the Ekwapim South District of the Eastern region, has migrated to Halfasini to pursue fishing. He is one of the fishermen who engages in the fish for sex trade, admitting to having sexual intercourse with multiple teenage girls, including the mother of his children.
For us fishermen, we lure girls with fish and nothing else. When you offer the girl fish, you have influenced her mind and she will continue to offer you sex because she knows that if she stops, she won't get the fish again.
Wooing the heart of teenage girls in the community is a competition among the fishermen, as these girls give in to the highest bidder. This was corroborated by Wanda.
There are some fishermen with elevated status in the community. The fish that they can give to the girls, you cannot afford, so your girlfriend can break up with you for them.
But why do the fishermen do what they do? A deputy chief fisherman, Nana Boka, attempted an explanation.
The girls like fish and that is why they keep begging for it every day. If they are scared of the consequences, they wouldn't be begging. If I give you fish and I also need a favor from you, I'll call you. I'll then have sex with you and you will feel relieved.
In Havasini, cases of sexual exploitation are not frequently reported to the police. Data from the Jomara Divisional Police Command show only 3 reported cases in the last 4 years. Jomara Municipal Chief Executive Louisa Ade is overwhelmed about the increasing trend.
Who are those getting the girls pregnant? These are elderly men living in our communities. And you'll be surprised that a girl of 15 years is being chased by a 45-year-old man who is married, and that small girl has become his mistress. And they get them pregnant. And then when Ghana Education Service comes in, our parents will go behind us and they'll go and collect a token and say, okay, let the girl be, because when she gives birth, who is going to take care of that girl?
Protecting the rights of girls and clamping down on the sex barter trade by fishermen in coastal communities requires the state's critical intervention. Stanley Nee Blawu's report read to you.
Well, we can now listen to Adiza Amahousu Aduma, who is the programs officer responsible for gender integration at Hempoano. That's an organization that has been fighting this particular issue in that community, and they want something done immediately.
Unfortunately, that's the reality in most of our coastal communities, and the patriarchal and the polygamous nature of these coastal communities often compel women and girls to endure some of these social injustices to a greater extent. And so for now, there is the need for intensive education and awareness creation at the community level for the communities to know the harmful effects of these actions and also ensure that these children get to school.
Well, that's Adiza, a programs officer for Hempoano. You want to say it again?
Hempoano.
Hempoano. Okay. Well, just before we head out, though, the dream of every Ghanaian parent is to see their children through school and guide them to become responsible adults in future. But that is not the case of Emmanuel Sakwa, who lost his dad at a young age and has fended for himself ever since. Kenneth GC has more of his story.
The traffic jam in most of Accra's busy highways usually frustrates commuters, as long productive hours are wasted in traffic on a daily basis. But that is where some traders also earn a living. They showcase their items to commuters when the gridlock starts to build, and sometimes chase after moving cars when a passenger tries to purchase an item just when traffic begins to ease. 24-year-old Emmanuel Sakwa is one of such people. The SHS graduate works 2 jobs, selling plantain chips in traffic and recording the number of imported cars that have just been retrieved from their containers at the Tema Harbour.
I just completed SHS, that's 2021. So this is what I normally do to earn some money, because you can't just be in a house or you can't just go and steal. As a man, you need to work, you need to, find something to do so that you get something for yourself. As well as having a family to, most of the times, your parents may need some help from you so that you can also help. So some would say it's hard, but we are able to go through Christ.
Emmanuel, who originally comes from the central region of Ghana, lost his father at a young age. He moved to Accra to seek for a better future. Not knowing anyone in the capital, Emmanuel lived in a rented kiosk, as it was the cheapest form of accommodation he could afford. He now lives at the church he worships. With a dream of becoming a doctor someday, Emmanuel is saving some of the monies he earns from his 2 jobs to further his education.
It's my dream of becoming a doctor. And I know that will take a long way in the school, but as long as I was able to pass well, at any moment I will be able to go to school. It's not easy, so I just have to take time, then plan well and save as well, so that if I'm able to enter, I may not go through difficulties in terms of any money issues or any stuff. So I've lost my dad, and my mom is alive in the central region. So I stay in a church. No, let's say that was last year. I was staying in Accra here at some place, so I got the chance to stay at the church. That was what I really could.
Emmanuel explains how he is able to combine 2 jobs.
Our work at Tema is a shift work. So you go for day 1 week, night 1 week, then you go for off. So when I'm on night, the daytime too, I used to sell something. So when I'm in the morning, that's when I don't come here to sell. So it's night and then off. That's what I get time to sell this.
Emmanuel Sakwa performed very well in his WASI exams. He had 6 A's, 1 B, and a pass. He remains hopeful that he'll make it someday so he can take care of his mother and siblings and further his education to become a medical doctor who will help save lives. Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
And that's a true story of hope there. And guess who is joining us now with what's up next? Mado. Hello.
Hi Evans. Hi Evans. Happy Val's Day. So strong and sassy.
Oh, today's Val's Day.
Valentine.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. How's your day been?
Stressful.
Okay, so moving on from your very stressful day. Tonight we're talking about love languages.
Okay.
But you know how we have like the traditional love languages, but then now we have a whole generation who just do things differently. So we're talking about love languages in our generation.
What's your love language?
Quality time, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Yeah.
That's
I like
deep.
it when people are thoughtful and preempt the things that I may need and then do it for me. And that means a lot to me because I am like everything to everyone.
Actually, now I'm thinking. I'm not sure I know what my love language is.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
What makes you happy?
Maybe being left alone.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
That may be an act of service then.
Yeah.
So when you're left alone, then you feel loved?
Yeah, left alone in the cinema with the good movie action.
By yourself?
By myself. Oh my God, my popcorn. I'm good.
Okay, Evans. Wow.
I'm doing well.
Okay, but when you're like in a relationship, what are the things that, for example, your wife does for you that makes you feel like, oh, she's got my back?
A lot. I mean, as for that, it's standard stuff like helping.
Helping, so acts of service, words of affirmation,
all that.
Wow, Evans, it's okay. You
But
don't
that's
have a love
standard, right?
language. It's okay. No, I mean, it's standard. Everything all comes together, but usually there's one thing that is really,
Stands out.
that really stands out.
That's what I said.
Being left alone. Okay, or maybe we need a 6th love language, being left alone. But that's Strong and Sassy coming up. Please stay tuned.